All right, here we go.
Where politics meets common sense. This is Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, everybody, it is Nightcaps with Nate, a special Friday edition. I have on with me the usual liberal, Natalie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, and I'm doing great. Are you drinking tonight?
I am. I'm having my having hard seltzer tonight.
Hard seltzer. Okay, back in the 90s, we would have called that Zima. It was horrible then. It's probably still horrible now. And then we have on Kayla. Kayla, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Kayla works with me actually during my day job, so I got to keep this PG-13 or she's going to turn me into HR. And her husband, Brian, may be on. Brian, are you on? He is not. He's having technical issues. So this is their first time on with us, which is okay because I think Kayla really runs that house. Are you the boss of the house?
Of course.
Of course. I hope I don't cause any marital troubles tonight. Don't worry. Anything I say, my wife is my producer, so she's sitting off to the side, listening to me, keep me in line. We're going to try to keep this PG-13 or less. So it is Friday, one of my favorite days normally, except for we're all locked down. So kind of feels like the same old day, same old day. That's why I'm still doing these shows. When we get off lockdown, though, I will not be doing Friday shows more than likely. So enjoy them while they last. Hey, by the way, how much longer do you think we're going to be locked down?
I see Indiana is doing this 5-phase thing. So on Monday, we get to go into phase 2, where some things are open. Bars aren't open, but like salons and that kind of thing. And then in a week or so, then we go into like phase 3. And that's where, more you can have groups up to 25 people. And then it just continues to go until finally we're free. So
how about you down there in Virginia, Miss Lombardi? Mrs. Lombardi.
So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be the same thing. There's going to be phases. We're going to have to deal with this for probably quite some time, like probably months.
Oh,
honestly.
Hey, you know what?
We'll
One second. We got to actually start over. Sorry, guys.
I was going to say, Are you live?
I am not live. This is my first time going live, and we are going to go live right now. Hit go live. Go ahead and go back quiet. We're going to do our intro.
Where politics meets common sense. This is Nightcaps with Nate.
Coming to you live from just outside the swamp of the nation's capital. Get ready for invigorating talk, commentary, and debate on the issues affecting your life. Grab your favorite drink. It's Nightcaps with Nate. Now, here's Nate.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special live edition Friday Night Lives. You know what? Fridays, this is very special because while we are locked down, we may still do Friday shows, but once we get unlocked down, hey, I can't guarantee anything. I'll probably be out with my wife doing our thing. On the screen with me is the usual Natalie. Natalie, how you doing?
I'm good.
And what are you drinking? I'm doing good. I've been drinking. I started earlier than usual.
Oh, okay. I'm having a White Claw hard seltzer, black cherry.
Yeah, back in the 90s, we would have called that Zima. Zima. So if you're from the 90s, you will remember that. And we also have my coworker, Kayla Lombardi. Kayla is a fellow recruiter during my day job, so I have to keep this nice tonight because she has promised to turn me into HR if I don't. She didn't really. I'm just playing. Kayla, are you drinking?
A Gatorade.
Gatorade? And she's pure. Do you drink at all?
Very, very rarely.
So, if this were a bar, she would be our designated driver. That's good. And Brian, I don't think you're on, but you may be on. They're having technical issues. Brian is her husband. He was EOD in the Army. If he's not on tonight, it's okay. We will have him on next week because I'm very interested in talking to him. EOD, for those that don't know, they deal with IEDs and they get rid of, they're basically a bomb squad of the Army. A very hard job, very cool job, and very excited to have him on if he can get on. Other than that, it looks like it's going to be ladies' night and I'll be outnumbered.
All right.
Yeah, so it actually works out because we were just talking about politics, and apparently Kayla is kind of middle of the road. We got the hard left progressive over there, Natalie, and then you got the libertarian leans conservative, Nate. So behind Kayla, which you can't see, is a dog, Lila. So that's her bodyguard. That's her safe space. Kayla, how long have you been recruiting, by the way?
For the last 8 months.
That's it? Oh, you're brand new in recruiting.
Yep. The last 8 months.
Man.
Yep.
You make me feel old. I've been recruiting for over 15 years. Can you believe that?
Yeah. I was in special education for 8 years and then switched to recruiting.
Why'd you switch?
Just was done with education system and everything.
Yeah. Natalie is a mother of a special needs child, two of them. So I couldn't do what you did even for 5 months. The special education teachers, shout out to you guys. All right, so let's get on with the news of the day because that's what everybody really cares about, not really too much about me or anything else. Today, guess what? Joe Biden actually finally was forced to address his issue. Of course, he went on the Morning Joe show, which I thought would be a softball because it's MSDNC, and they really don't care. By the way, we are brought to you today by I'm on Team Joe, Jeffrey Epstein, because he loves our children. And also our favorite here, Joe Biden. We got his video running of him trying to feel up on a little 8-year-old girl. It's pretty sick, pretty disgusting. If you don't think this guy's a pervert, and I don't know what, I'd never let him around my kids. Hey, Natalie, you're a liberal. Would you let him around your kids?
Well, no, I wouldn't. But when you say that he was feeling up an 8-year-old, what do you mean by feel up? Because I just had a debate about this with an older woman, and she said it's a generational thing. Like, with the playing of the hair, pulling it back.
No, I'm talking about how his hands on this video right here. I know you can't see it, but you can see it when you watch the recording later tonight. But the little girl even kind of goes away because his hand just creeps right up over her chest, like literally on her chest. The guy's a sicko, man. I don't care what anybody says. Hey, Mika Brzezinski, though, she was lauded for pressing Biden on sexual assault allegations. They weren't softballs. I actually watched it. I was like, oh man, this is going to be like 2 minutes of hard questioning. She grilled that guy for like 15 or 20 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I mean, she really went after him hard. Here's what I'm scared, though. It doesn't mean that he's off the hook, because what's going to happen is all the press, the media, the liars in the media, they're going to say, oh, well, he was already pressed, so he's good to go. We don't need to push the issue anymore. To me, it's just disingenuous. By the way, we are interacting live with our commentary. Amber, hello. She is actually my cousin, so she's always on. Robert Frey, grew up with him. Hello, Nate. Samantha, kind of like a cousin, kind of grew up with her. Her mom is actually, not her mom, her aunt, right, Natalie? Samantha's aunt is Darcy?
Yes.
Yeah. So, her aunt and my mom are best friends.
Samantha's mom is Jenny Yacht. And Samantha's one of the 4 sisters.
Yeah.
Samantha, Drew, Melissa, and
so Samantha says it's the same recording that she sent to you, and she also says Zima with Jolly Rancher. So totally understand all of those commentaries. So I'm very surprised that they did. Did either of you guys get a chance to watch the grilling of Joe Biden today?
I did. You'll have to fill me in.
I have to fill you in. You're the liberal. I thought that would be on like your your alarm, like your TV turns on and MSNBC comes on and you watch it all day. And
I'm very interested in it, but I wanted to also give a shout out to Vincent Thompson. He's the father of a soldier who I served with. His son unfortunately passed away, but may you rest in peace. But I wanted to say hello because he's such a loyal follower.
His son's a veteran of Afghanistan, right?
Yes, he is. His son was Blair Thompson, and he was a friend of mine overseas. It was And so that's how his father and I got in touch was through that. And so I wanted to say hello and thank you for watching. He sides with you, Nathan, though.
Of course.
He has said that he wants to have a beer with you.
And by the end of the show, Kayla's going to side with me and Brian. Right, Kayla?
Sure.
Sure. We'll see. Okay, cool. Kayla's, when I first started working where we work, she was actually on maternity leave. And I think it was actually literally COVID that was going around our thing. This is before everybody knew what COVID was. And so everybody was just getting this weird sickness, remember? And she had brought the child to the Christmas party. And I said, who is that, to a coworker? And like, oh, that's Kayla. She works here. She's just on maternity leave. And I like whispered to her, I was like, hey, I wouldn't have your baby here. You know, everybody here's like got the death sickness. She obviously believes in antibodies because she didn't look phased at all by it. So, and the baby's healthy and strong, right?
Yeah, she's fine.
Good. Sorry if I call it. I'm like, I'm a recruiter, so we call everything out. So back to Mika Brzezinski. Shout out to the to MSDNC. This is the one and only time I'll probably ever give you a shout out. But with the MSDNC, believe it or not, was one of the first ones to actually air anything about this Joe Biden scandal. Because Chris Hayes at night, I brought it up on my show the other night. They actually brought it up too. And facts, so much so that they wanted to fire. Oh man, I don't even have me on my screen. Sorry about that. They wanted to fire Chris Hayes for not fire him, not MSNBC, but the liberals were calling for his job. They're calling for his head because how dare he actually go after Joe Biden? You know, everything's about Trump. But you know, the Democrats own the Me Too movement, so they should be equal opportunity. Back in the day, Me Too actually was pretty equal opportunity. They went after Al Franken. Remember Al Franken? He cost him his job. Of course, he had pictures of him like pretty much sexually harassing a sleeping reporter. But you guys remember that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I think I might have. Let me see if I have. Yes, I have a little sound clip that I want to play for the viewers of the very first questions that Mika was grilling Joe on, just to give you an idea. So everybody should be able to hear this.
Okay, let's bring in the apparent Democratic nominee for president, former Vice President Joe Biden. Mr. Vice President, thank you for coming on the show this morning. We have a lot we want to ask you this morning. Okay. Joe and Willie will join in just a moment for questions on how you would handle this pandemic, the campaign, and other news of the day. But at the start, it's just going to be you and me. And I want to get right to the allegation made against you by Tara Reade. So the former Senate aide accuses you of sexual assault. And please, to our viewers, please excuse the graphic nature of this.
So I'm going to stop right there for 1 second. It is going to get kind of graphic, but this is Nightcaps and Nate. So since we're simulating being in a bar virtually drinking, hopefully you guys don't get offended by this next question. But it was a very tough question that's coming up. By the way, shout out Kareem. I see you there, buddy. All right, here we go.
But I want to make sure that there is no question as to what we're talking about. She says in 1993, Mr. Vice President, that you pinned her against the wall and reached under her clothing and penetrated her with your fingers.
Boom! She said penetrate with the fingers. In other words, basically she got fingered and not by her choice. So, yeah, Natalie, I did that for you because, man, I wish I had a chance to look at the face. That's what he did. You know, this is just as bad as when Trump was caught on tape grabbing people by the pussy. No. Time out. This is worse. Because assumingly, when he was just grabbing people by the pussy, they were like laughing it off, and it was just sexual harassment. This is actually rape. This is no place in society since, say, Mad Men. Remember the show Mad Men? I don't even think that's even allowed then. But, you know, it's the good old boys club back in the day. And Joe Biden was part of that. Let's keep going.
Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reade?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
Okay, let's.
All right, so that was just question number one. So I thought, oh man, they're going to move on past that. Shout out. I want Jeremy Colby, who's been on this show, so I can call him by name. I want all of Natalie's friends that debate me on Facebook. I want everybody to realize that I'm giving props to a liberal show. Okay, because I believe in being nonpartisan. Kayla, do you think? What's your thoughts on this? Just let it out.
So, and the thing is that you can't, of course, you can't prove someone guilty until it's proven. But also, it is a serious matter, so you do have to take it seriously because it is sexual assault.
Totally agree. I mean, and they called for Kavanaugh to have an FBI hearing to stop the hearing. Stop. Well, it was a delay tactic for him, but you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe we need an FBI to look into this matter real quick, just to do a quick cursory overview, do some witnesses, see if there's something there to it. What do you think, Natalie?
I believe her. A mother doesn't call in to Larry King Live in 1993, the year that it happened, to talk about what he did if it didn't happen. Her daughter went to her mother, like girls do, and she told her mother what happened, and her mother was disgusted, appalled, and probably felt helpless, and that's why her mother called in. So I 100% believe her.
Yeah, and if you got a comment that's related to the story at hand, please put it out there. Samantha says, I didn't have sexual relations with that woman. Weird. Sounds very familiar. That is very true. Hey, you know what? Here's my thoughts, my final thoughts before we move on to this. If Joe Biden wasn't such a creeper in about 100 different other videos, then I'd be like, come on, here we go. Everybody's got to dredge this crap up. We need to stop with the sexual politics because it does ruin the Me Too moment, right? But that guy, I mean, he has a lot of he has very touchy-feely hands. And, whether it's a 19-year-old in a parking lot and she has to pull her face away. This is just recently in Iowa. I mean, whether it's this little girl where he's putting his hands on her chest. I mean, the guy is kind of, you guys are mothers. You ladies are mothers. What do you think? You have little spidey senses. Do you think he's a creeper?
I would not, after seeing the YouTube video with all of that, I would keep my children close. Yes. I have knowledge now, so it's hard to say because I understand, but in person, he looks like a very charismatic man. He's just very,
At first, I chalked it up to him being just grandfatherly. What do you think, Kayla? You think he's a creeper or you think he's just grandfatherly? What does your census tell you?
I mean, the problem with you saying he's just well, the thing is the problem with saying he's just grandfatherly, you can just see when he is interacting with people and the way he kisses people, it's just like, especially his granddaughter, that just shows right there. That's not normal. Like, right. You don't do that.
Well,
obviously that's not.
Even my daughter, who's 11 years old. Yeah, 11. I'm going to get in trouble here. When you get older, you start forgetting your kids. She's even starting to transition away from kissing daddy on the lips to more side kisses, right? I mean, that guy, he goes up to his 19-year-old granddaughter. God, I wish my wife kissed me like that sometimes.
Well, you have to be careful because he, and the other thing is that pedophiles usually stick to children. They usually don't go for old, women they usually have like true pedophiles. They go for either children or they go for women. You usually don't see a combination of both.
Well, this is back in 1990s, so maybe he started with just younger looking women and then he moved to actual pedophilia. It's a progressive thing. Kathleen and Samantha both on comments both say, yeah, he's a freaking creep. So, they got spidey senses like moms do. Look, here's the deal. I'm a dad, right? Dad's usually like, he's just, that dude's creepy, Uncle Joe. He is creepy. All right, let's move on. Unless you guys got any last words. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to give a shout out to Andrew Scott Sterling. Do you know him? I think he's your friend. Yes, he's on mine. I see your comments. He is very outspoken about this. He says harassment versus sexual assault, unless you're Kavanaugh. Ho, ho, ho. One up for conservatives.
And Samantha brings up a good point. This is not about just pedophilia, which is illegal. This is pure sexual misconduct. All right, so guess what? A bad news for liberals. I've been saying it over and over again. Bad news for liberals when the silent majority becomes not so silent anymore. Today in Los Angeles, they had a big rally to reopen California. I think more and more you're starting to see black conservatives because one of the main speakers there was also a black conservative. Very good speech. Just talking about, hey, we're grown folks. We know what to do. Pro-Trump group. So ABC News is actually blaming it on Trump, of course. You know, pro-Trump groups plan dozens of anti-lockdown protests across the country, some in various hotspots. I love their news reporting. Pro-Trump group Women for America First is organizing dozens of protests across the country against stay-at-home orders set to kick off this Friday, including coronavirus hotspots like New York City and Los Angeles. So that's the one that happened today. The extensive list of protests to reopen America are the latest in line. Now, here's what really bothers me, right? Because indoctrination of our young from the liberal left starts really young. And Teen Vogue wrote a story today. I didn't get a chance to put it on here. But they have first of all, if you have a daughter, don't you ever let them watch or read Teen Vogue. That thing is for 12 and 13-year-olds, and they teach you how to have anal sex. I've read articles about anal sex in Teen Vogue. Okay? That's stuff that we don't even talk about even at the bar. I mean, sometimes I make a joke with Whitley like, hey, you know, I'm not going to say it. But that is a filthy magazine. What'd you say?
He said Whitley's going to kill you?
I know. I was going to do the 2 and the, you know, and the 1 and the, but joke. But anyways, that dude, it is, Teen Vogue is just a disgusting magazine. Anyways, they want to paint these lockdowns as racist. They said, in fact, the anti-shutdown thing is a racist march. Everything's racism with the left. You know what the left has done? They have ruined Me Too. They have ruined the word racist, because if you just don't agree, hey, I don't agree with Kayla, she's a racist. She doesn't agree with me, oh, you're a misogynist. You know, they love the ist thing. Kayla's a smile.
Cannot ruin Me Too. Me Too was apart from politics, and it'll stay separate from politics.
They ruined it with Joe Biden.
No, Me Too isn't. The left stance in Me Too is now shaky.
Yeah, the left's credibility in Me Too
you can't claim it as.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Do you read Vogue, Kayla?
No.
No? What's
Not at all. No.
I'm a little bit scared.
Are you going to let your daughters read Teen Vogue?
Most likely no.
Most likely no. Don't. Not unless you want to.
You can't really control a teenager too much.
You know what I found? I don't know. I must have thought my parents were dumb because they never caught me, but I just remember everything my parents tried, and I tried against my parents, and I go for them at that angle. Yeah, there's a lot more you control than what you think. You know what? If your kids have a good dad and mom and closeness, then typically they're gonna grow up just fine. Hey, this one I'd actually put up here for Brian himself, but he's not here, so I will take the lead on this one. But Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada has announced a ban on 1,500 different style assault weapons. Okay, so Prime Minister Trudeau says Canada is banning the use and trade of assault style weapons immediately. Says they are designed to kill largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. That was Morning Joe, and then of course their parent company NBC said basically the same thing. Guess what? They don't have a Second Amendment. Second Amendment is misguided in the United States, and they liberals like to say, "Oh, well, it's for hunting." No, it's not for hunting. It's to take over the government if need be. And a lot of people say, "Well, we're not against having handguns and rifles to protect your home." It's not about that either. The Constitution was clear. As Natalie would say, we were coming off a totalitarian government in England, and we were scared that they were going to take back over. So we all had a lot of weapons so that we could defend the country, and we could also defend our new country in case they got power hungry and tyranny reigned. Kayla, are you?
Do you think that it's still valid?
Huh?
Do you think that it's still? Do you really think that our country is going to get taken over by England or Europe ever again?
No, I think that I think we have a bigger threat.
And if we do, and if that does happen, because World War II happened, with Hitler, and he tried taking over the world. If that does happen, do you think that we're going to really rely on our militias for that? No.
Yeah.
That's why we have a military.
Yeah, we call up what? Our militia is called the National Guard.
That's a well-regulated militia.
But what part of does not infringe and this is about Canada right now, but guess what? This was not to protect us from Europe. This was to protect us from our own government. a government that says, hey, a virus that's going to kill 0.4% of the people, we're going to go ahead and lock it down. What happens when we get a virus that kills 0.2% and they start saying, hey, just like during Hurricane Katrina when they went door to door and tried to confiscate handguns? Guess what? We are closer now to civil war, I think, than ever before. And I'm not saying that we're close to civil war. I'm saying that on the scale, we have moved as close to it as we have since the actual Civil War. And the part of the reason why is because federal government has gotten too large. I am not advocating for civil war. This is not Kevin Alleman on. This is Nate Kerr. He's the militia man in the office. But what I am saying is that the Second Amendment is to keep the government as fearful of the populace as possible. And Thomas Jefferson even said, a fearful government is healthy. Go ahead, Kayla. Do you like guns, Kayla?
Yeah, I mean, I have a gun.
You do, or Brian does?
No, I have guns as well.
Good. Do you shoot?
Yeah, of course. What's the point of having a gun if you don't shoot?
Well, some people have guns and they don't ever shoot. Whitley loves shooting. Do you have any guns, Natalie?
Well,
I did your twin brother Brandon as a wedding gift gave this is my brother in Kentucky. He gave us a wedding gift of a pistol, which was very sweet of him. But we have autistic children, so we didn't think that it would be safe to keep in the house. So we've returned the gun. I think Dad has it, but you know, the thing is that most liberals aren't trying to take your handguns. They aren't trying to
start somewhere.
Or hunting rifles. That's not what we're doing. We want to make sure that AR-15s don't end up in the hands of crazies, which can eat you, and AR-15s is the equivalent of the military, the M16, and without the blast capability.
Burst. You keep saying blast. It's burst.
Okay, without burst. And, it's been 10 years. Anyway, and it's, we don't... Common day civilians don't need that. And if we have them, then we will continue to see mass school shootings and we will see many children die because you just can't, even if we have armed people in that school, they cannot tackle them in time before they take out. It goes like 30 rounds per minute.
That's not true. Nowadays schools, man, if you go to like even schools out here in West Virginia, you got to go and you got to get bussed in. And one actually makes me show my ID card, and they'll ask, what's your purpose here? And then they have another locked door to where you can only go into the office. So guess what? If you have a long gun, you're fine. You're not going to get into school.
I walk up to Julianne and Ben's school. I do a buzz. They buzz me right in.
That's because you're a woman.
I got in, and if anybody got in, as soon as they get in that door, then it's done because they'll take out the secretary.
But you said we're not trying to take your hunting rifles. I just got done saying the Second Amendment was never to protect hunting. It was to protect you from the government. Samantha says that she has quite a few guns and she doesn't shoot them at all. Kathleen says she loves going shooting. I know that because they're always out. Hey, is Kathleen and Kevin, are they on your Facebook, Kayla?
Yeah, we're going to go up for my daughter's birthday. We're going to go up to their cabin.
Yeah, so they love being outdoors. That's what I was going to say. Me? Yeah, I heard you now. Andrew says, but handguns kill more people annually and are used in more crimes than ARs. By the way, Andrew he's a police officer, so he knows a little bit about it.
I think that all of these people who are commenting, these conservatives who like their guns, are not the threat. What I think is the threat is that the shooter of Sandy Hook got his weapon from his parents who didn't have it locked up. It's never you who's the crazy. It's always a relative who's the crazy. And then they come in and they get they go to your house, they get it, and then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, but Natalie, they post gun-free zone signs. They post gun-free zone signs. They put signs that they say gun-free zone. I mean, come on.
No, what they need to do is they need to quit manufacturing them so they're not available to both good people and
quit manufacturing.
The AR-15.
Do you
manufacture?
Go ahead, Kayla.
It doesn't. Do you the one thing is that the one thing I cannot understand when it comes to when people say that about guns. no matter who, if you get rid of them all, there's going to be someone illegal finding them. So someone is going to be able to get them. Go to Baltimore. They have tons of guns that are not registered. They get them somehow. You're going to get it.
Except that in Japan, where they have strict gun legislation, the gun crime is almost at zero.
Yeah, they don't have a Second Amendment either.
Because they're not manufactured in Japan. They don't have them in Japan, so they're not even available to the criminals.
And how did that?
So that argument, the criminal will still always find it, and it's just not valid. In the United States, if we stopped manufacturing them, then they would become lesser and lesser and lesser, and gun crime would go down. The number one place are the cartels in Mexico where they get guns is from over the border.
No, they got them from the Obama administration.
They go to Texas and they go to gun shops
right.
and they buy guns.
Obama approved that. Obama approved that with the Fast and Furious, saying, hey, here's the deal. Japan just 50 years ago started a world war or entered a world war on the wrong side of history. Maybe if their population had guns, then their government wouldn't have felt so free to become a totalitarian state and enter in with Nazi Germany in a world war. All right.
That's a fun fact, but in Nazi Germany, they were allowed to bear arms in Germany.
Only certain people can have them.
They took them, the white people, they took them from the Jews. Those are the only people that they took them from. But Nazis, the people, had guns. And then finally, when we came in and we invaded, then we took the guns from the Nazis. We did, as the enemy.
The Nazis actually used gun control in order to take control of their people. I think you got a little bit of revisionist history going on.
From the Jews, they did not take them from German citizens. They considered Jews to not be citizens, so they disarmed them because they considered them to not be citizens. But every German
every
documented citizen, they were allowed
only
to have
if
them.
You believed in the Nazi Party. In 1933, the ultimate extremist group led by Adolf Hitler seized power and used the records to identify, disarm, and attack political opponents and strip them of their gun rights. And we have Brian on. What's up, man? Right? I hope you're listening to this thing. Can you hear me? He's frozen with thumbs up, so... Hey, that's a perfect picture. Right on time. Second Amendment, baby. That's what he's got his thumbs up for. Second Amendment. He is a believer.
Oh, Lord.
By the way, Kayla is the IT guru of that house. All right, moving on. Man, time is flying. We're already 32 minutes into the show. The good news is tonight we don't have a hard cap at 60 minutes, but I still want to keep it around 60 minutes. Hey, you know what's really good? And this is where he's actually moving. Can you hear me? He can hear me. He just can't talk, but that's fine. He is dead on. He is our EOD guy, and he's got a big old gun behind him. And he's saying, just a minute. Nope, still can't hear you, buddy. I see your lips moving. So, but I will have you on the show next week, definitely, too. All right, so, I beat up on liberals and conservatives. I'm a Trump guy. Don't get me wrong. I am on the Trump train, okay? But I think his messaging sucks. I think he turns off a lot of women who will probably still vote for him, but they got to hold their nose because he is a little narcissistic. And can you hear me now?
Oh, I can hear you.
Well, you're talking.
I can't talk.
Yeah, you are. I hear you, buddy. You're on.
You can talk.
It could be a bandwidth thing too.
You muted yourself.
He muted himself. So with Kathleen says, poor Brian. Technology.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. This guy can defuse a bomb.
No.
He can defuse a bomb, but he can't work technology. What's up, Brian? How you doing? I don't think he realizes we can actually hear him. Oh, yeah, Jack Daniels, baby. He's drinking Jack Daniels.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, cool. Everything's good then.
Yeah,
all right, perfect.
Hey, any last words? We were talking about the Second
go.
Amendment. How do you feel about the Second Amendment?
Oh, God.
Oh. Like as in owning tanks and missiles and...
There you go.
I should own what the military owns, right? That's what it was set up for.
Yeah, it's not to protect you
I
for
wasn't
hunting.
outgunned by my government.
Yeah. And what kind of weapon you got back there on the shelf?
That's a Savage 30-06, just like a little short range hunting rifle I was building.
I love it. Love it. Shot one. And my cousin or my friend Andrew, he's a cop and he is drinking Jack and Coke. So he said, "My man." He's also formerly in the army too. All right, so let's get back into it. So I've said time and again, man, I give Trump, man, that guy, he gets A- for policy, okay? But man, when it comes to stepping on his own pecker, he gets a D. Okay, that guy, sometimes you just, when he's at, tell me if I'm wrong, when he's doing a rally, like I've had friends and family go to rallies, they say it's the best time ever. Whitley and I went to the 4th of July thing, best time ever. I mean, the guy on the stump is actually a great speaker. When he doesn't have a teleprompter and he's just throwing red meat to the base, we're like, yeah, build the wall and woo, USA, USA. But when it comes to prepared remarks or trying to sound smart, man, sometimes he really thinks he's that smart and he needs to shut up. Now he finally let his press secretary do her very first press conference. And this is what happens when you let experts do their job. The press loved her. She was well spoken. She actually spoke just facts. She didn't talk about injecting bleach up anybody's arm or drinking it or putting, Lysol enemas or any of the weird, freaky stuff my sister and John do. And, sorry, Natalie. You like that joke? No? She's still drinking. All right, so, anyways, McEnany, who joined the White House last month, took the stage behind a podium that had quite literally been collecting cobwebs before the president began the practice of holding his own daily briefings due to the coronavirus. McEnany said she has daily interactions with the president and sees it as her mission to convey his mindset to the public. She did very well. I actually watched it. Pretty lady. I do notice one thing, okay? You know Joe Biden likes little girls. Trump likes blondes. He does. He loves blondes.
Melania is not blonde though.
Melania? No, but she's kind of a dirty blonde. Come on. Kayla, you would be safe around Trump. Brian, you don't have anything to worry about with your wife around Trump.
Nice.
He likes blondes. Actually, I think he's pretty equal opportunity and all that. So
his wallet's a little heavier than mine.
Yeah, but your gun is a little heavier than his. Hey, of course he's got Secret Service.
Hey.
Brian, what do you think about Trump?
Yeah.
Tell me about Trump.
I think he means well, but he's his own worst enemy, 100%. When political leaders are talking, or leaders in general, the less they say, the more.
Yeah, less is more.
The more, to me, it means, when he start ranting and raving and then, he gets flustered by the media, their only job is to trip him up. We don't have a media. There's not a media. We have political activists, and that's all they are. They're rushing to get their names out there to get their next book deal. Oh, Trump, he said this to me and I got into an argument with him on CNN, so I'm going to go make a book deal out of it. You can't tell me how many people didn't do that, or how many people did do that. You know what I'm saying? We don't, there's no media. It's either you're for this group or you're for this group. Yeah. Independent media, that it's not there. And even the right, I align myself more with the right, but at the same time, they do the same thing. Hypocrisy is on both sides. And if you can't see it, then I don't know what to tell you, but it's on both sides. You can't say it's the right, it's the left. I align myself with the left or the right because. I was going to say, that surprised me. Second Amendment. No, you
said the left, you got a big old gun back there.
Definitely not.
Hey,
I'm more of a social liberal, I would say, than anything.
You're like me.
More than a conservative or whatever. But at the same time, I'm like the founding fathers, man. Let me do what I do. You can do whatever the hell you want to do over there.
As long as you don't hurt anybody, right?
You leave me alone.
Right.
Hey, that's
called libertarianism.
What the left doesn't like to ban, they make illegal. And what they don't like to make illegal, they try to ban. It's ridiculous.
I agree. So my cousin says I think he has a thing with his daughter. I don't agree with that. I think he does have a favorite daughter.
I totally agree with that. He has this secret, weird, creepy dad crush on Ivanka.
I think he just really likes his daughter. He's very proud of her.
Oh.
Hey, Scott Bosha is on the on the chat. He says, "What's up, NWN?
wait,
Go Bucks." Go ahead.
I wanted to say one thing. If we're talking about you already said quite enough about Creepy Joe. So I'm going to say one thing about Creepy Trump. And that is with Ivanka, he has been quoted saying, so talking about all of her attributes of why somebody should date her. And then finally, at the end of it, his last line was, I might date her.
No, he said I would have dated her if she wasn't my daughter. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Hey, I think my daughter's beautiful. I mean, I don't talk about dating her, but all right, moving on. America will battle coronavirus for 2 more years and could face an even bigger peak this fall, pandemic expert warns. One expert says only about when 2/3 of the country has been affected will the virus fizzle out, because that's called herd immunity. Another expert, he's not really an expert, Dr. Yasha Malk of Johns Hopkins, but he's a political scientist, not a real scientist. He says, you got to get to 80%. So I did the numbers. If you look at the right-hand screen, we are at worst going to get 1.32 million deaths split over 2 years. Sounds like a lot, but we are a country of 330 million people. We cannot keep hiding forever. We have literally caused us to go into a Great Depression over a 0.5% death rate. The real numbers, probably closer to what the real scientists say. About 2/3 of the country has to get it and then get immune to it. It's called herd immunity. It means that it can't pass on anymore because it has no more hosts to go to once you're immune to it. So we'll probably get 1.1 million deaths over 2 years. We already get 2.4 million deaths a year just of every other cause. This will add about 500,000 more deaths, maybe 400,000 more deaths per year. Sounds like a lot. It is a lot. I'm sorry about everybody's grandmother who might die. It's sad. It's a part of life. But guess what? We have to get this crap out of our system. And the only way to get a new and novel virus out of our system is to let it pass through. Okay? Now, if this was like Ebola, where it was killing people like at a 99% rate, of course we'd all hide. We can't kill off 99% of our population. That would be the other extreme. But we have to do something about it. I understand all you nurses. They did polling, and it's females. Yes, you two on the left side of my screen. You guys are the ones that are saying, but what if it was your grandfather? I hope it's not my grandfather. Well, my grandfather's dead, but I hope it's not Whitley's dad. I really do. Or my parents. But guess what? It is part of life. That's what happens. Bacteria, virus, get hit by a car, go to war.
Well, we have one major problem, and that is we have a lack of beds and medical supplies in our country. So I like the way that my Governor Holcomb from Indiana, what he's doing. And he's doing like a 5-phase. So like I was saying at the beginning of the show, like there's the first phase, and we're in phase 1 right now, social distancing. But on Monday, we're going to go into phase 2, where salons and some things will be open, but bars will still be closed, et cetera. And then a week after that, or maybe
we don't have time to go through every phase, but we get it. It's a phased approach.
Well, okay. Well, anyway, we phase out, and then finally we get to phase 5 or whatever, and then we're done. And we're done with we can go back to life as normal. But as he's phasing us out,
time out. Let's stop there.
Just a second. As he's phasing us out, we're checking our rates and our COVID rates and our death rates, and we're kind of like staying with it. And I think that is something that's sustainable with our limited medical supplies.
Totally agree with you. Let me cut you off there for sake of time. Yes, we can only release people onto the population as our medical capacity can handle it. You're right. But Dr. Fauci, who's been on there, has been wrong about everything, by the way. And we ordered all these ventilators and stuff, never even used it. We deployed 2 major medical ships to each coast of the country, and they took on like 100 patients each, a 1,000-bed hospital. Bottom line, we overestimated this thing based on fear. We do have to watch our hospitalization rate, is what you were talking about. I totally agree with you there, but we have to get everybody that's healthy out there, and let's protect the vulnerable like Sweden is doing. They've got the right thing. But what I'm pissed about liberals is that they try to blame Trump for the deaths. No, this is China's fault. What do you say, Kayla? Is it China's fault or Trump's?
Well, it's not. It's obviously not Trump's fault. He didn't bring it over here.
Yeah. Natalie, real quick, whose fault?
I think that it's an illness. It's Mother Nature's, fault.
Bullshit. It's Wuhan Lob's fault. It ain't Mother Nature.
Well, come on. I mean, it could have just as easily, erupted over here. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people who eat bats here. But seriously though, like, I mean, illnesses happen. We can't blame anybody for it, and blaming anybody's not going to solve the problem. We just have to. We're here.
Oh
This
yeah,
is
it's
what
all
happened.
politics if they want to blame him. Yeah.
Now let's work with it.
All right, go ahead, Brian. Give me your 10-second thought. 20 seconds.
It's an election year.
Yeah.
It's an election year, and it's Trump.
There you go.
Those two things alone. Hey, hurricanes this year and last year, those were Trump's fault because of global warming. This and that was Trump's fault. The murders from any kind of assault rifle, those are all Trump and Republicans, baby. White people, everyone. That, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's there. Every single time that someone tries to put a label on something or to try to blame a group of people for something happening and not dealing with the consequences and then moving on like adults, we're going to be in this situation. Our country has not been this divided since 1860, the beginning of 1860s. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It culminated in the 1896 election with the Gilded Age. Yes, very good documentary. I actually thought about that.
And I agree with Brian, because I feel like the Democrats and the Republicans, this two-party system is, really doing everybody a disservice. Everybody's blaming each other and pointing fingers at each other, when all it's doing is dividing us. Now, with that said, as you're choosing your candidates for the election year, it's fair to look at how you responded, how each candidate responded to it. I am a liberal, but I really am a little bit proud of my governor for how he's responding right now.
Good job. Just like I did props to Cuomo.
Good job,
Yep.
And I think that it's fair for people, if they look at Trump and how he responded, he was calling it a hoax at the beginning.
No, you did not. He did not say that. Now you're just as big fake news as CNN. Listen, he said that what's going to be hung around his neck, and it was almost prophetic because it actually came true. Around his neck will be, the Democrats will say that my response to this was bad, and that is the next hoax. That's what he said. Now, let's read some comments real quick. Scott says, it's not my fault. Thank you, Scott. Whew. Like I started a virus from Stillwater. Natalie, oh, this is my wife. Natalie, love you, but you aren't eating bats. Kathleen says, Brian, clap, 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 clap. Yep. Andrew says, I don't eat bats. Chan Singh Sidhu says, great American and good human, talking about Trump. And Scott Bosa says, Brian nailed it. I'm not only talking about drinking Jack straight from the bottle. Cheers, bro. So, don't know if you've met Scott before. Sounds like you're pretty popular. All right. Moving on. The true blame goes to China. More countries are joining Trump, jumping on that Trump train, and call for probe of China, the World Health Organization, over coronavirus. Why the World Health Organization? Because the WHO was complicit, man. They were complicit. They were all up on Winnie the Pooh. What's his name? Man, escaping my mind. The leader of China. It looks like Winnie the Pooh. Anyways, they were all up on his sack, man. They love him. And more countries are joining Trump in call for probe of China. Lawmakers in countries like Germany, Sweden, Australia have also asked for an investigation into the virus, which has so far infected 3.2 million people and killed over 230,000 people. 230,000 people's bloods are on your hand. Here's why. It either escaped your lab because you guys suck at infection control, A, or B, SARS, the original SARS, 10 years ago, came from a wet market in bats, and you guys allowed wet markets with bats to happen again. So, either way, your fault. You are on the hook. You're on the hook for 230,000 deaths and for trillions of dollars of lost economic output. In fact, my wife says you should wipe the whole debt of the United States out. The $1 trillion that you have in our securities, we might as well just not pay it back. We say, hey, thank you.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What is it that you hope to gain from even if we all decided, yes, this is China's fault, we pegged China. What is it that you're hoping to gain with that?
First of all, I will never peg China, but go ahead.
Huh?
Economic freedom.
So
get rid of every single factory.
Economic freedom?
I'll tell you what.
Get rid of every single overseas factory inside of China. You don't know how many factories that we export all our stuff to there to build it, and then they ship it straight back over here. They do that with livestock, pigs, chickens, beef. They do that with all different kinds of stuff. China is the most deceptive, I guess you could say, economy, business people in the world. In 2014, they had almost, 250,000 pounds of rat meat disguised as chicken.
Yeah.
A year after
Wait,
that,
time out,
they got
stop.
caught
You
putting
saying I ate rat meat on accident?
Hey, I probably did. I ate a
That's
I ate
nasty,
Chinese
dude.
food places
Oh.
before.
America becomes vegetarian.
But they're very deceptive.
They
They're
are.
very deceptive. And look, there's slavery going on right now by the Muslim majorities in Western China. And they're hiding them. They're sending them all over. There's been investigations. We've caught them doing that in the last 5 years.
Well, and I understand that you have beef with China.
No, we have rat meat with China.
Yeah. I understand.
Well,
Brian.
it's
We have-
shady
if you
business
have-
practices that we need to stop.
Okay. So you think that pinning coronavirus on China is going to solve the rat meat problem? I'm trying to follow your logic.
No. So, hey, well, all right. So hear it like this. We know that China's deceptive. We have this virus here started from them. Whether it's from them or not, our prosperity is in American-made products. We put our people to work with American-made products. So let's hurt China by taking one away from their military and two away from their economy.
All right.
Because they're a communist country. So their military and their government is number one. We hit them where it hurts. We take our American business away from them and bring it back to our shores.
Hey, so
That
let
will
me
hurt them the most.
let me jump in here. Andrew says it's that Popeye sandwich. That rat meat. At least that's gross. Amber says I love Chinese food. It's my favorite. I don't care what I ate. It was good. Andrew says we need to pull out of China.
It was good. I'll give it to him.
Oh my God. Scott says, and they've done the same with medical equipment. Here's the thing. China actually threatened us at the beginning of this thing when we started saying, hey, China, it's your fault, and said, hey, well, maybe we won't give you back your pharmaceuticals that we develop here in our country. That right there is the minute that we should pull out all of our national security stuff out of their country. That includes 5G, as Trump has been saying and has been blasted for. That includes our pharmaceutical supply. Yep. Our pharmaceuticals used to all be made in Puerto Rico, and we moved out of greed over to China.
So how are we going to make up for everything that China does for us, like overnight, if we had to do that?
We're not going to do it overnight. We're going to slowly start pulling things out.
What does China do for us that we're making up for?
Hey, there's Lila.
I mean, you just said that they send so much over into our country. We send it to them to make, then they come over and they do it here. So then we're going to need people to be able to build the things, manufacture the things. How are we going to do that? We have a population of 327 million people, and and X amount of those people, the majority, are already working and have jobs. How are we going to come up with all of those manufacturing jobs?
You're not going to do it all at once.
Overnight. You can't.
We're going to move. We can move stuff to America at least. And yes, I know it's unpopular to say. Oh, I see a little baby back there. The little one, not the baby, but the little one. But we're not going to do it all overnight.
She's having a hard time.
She could chime in. What's her name?
Aubrey,
what do you think about China?
Hi. She's tired. She's trying to fall asleep.
Oh,
She's
okay.
Me.
All right. So we're not going to do it all overnight, and we're not going to do it on this show either because we got to move on to other topics. But guess what? More and more, we need to bring stuff home from, and this is not just for America. This is for all the Western world. Bring your manufacturing home, or there's a lot of countries that will compete for it. India, Taiwan, Vietnam, a whole bunch of stuff. Cuba. You know what? One thing I give props to Trump. I give Trump props for talking to Kim Jong-un, right? When they said, "Oh, that's so stupid," and I give Obama props for talking to Fidel Castro and his brother Raul Castro. Why? Because we're never going to get world peace unless we start talking to each other at least. But if we start getting some manufacturing into some of these other countries, then maybe they will do the right thing like China was doing before Winnie the Pooh took over. President Xi, I think is his name. Xi, right? So, you know he banned Winnie the Pooh out of China, right? You heard about that?
No.
Oh, yeah, because everybody's making caricatures because he looks like Winnie the Pooh. Did you know that, Brian, Kayla? Yeah, Google it.
No.
True story. Andrew says it's a process, but in the long run it will benefit us. It creates domestic jobs. Scott, Brian for the presidential nominee after Trump serves his second term. That's great. Brian, you're being nominated for president. And Amber says there's a lot of people that don't work. All right, next story. Kim Jong-un may be holed up with his 2,000 woman pleasure squad. Look, I love women just as much as
Good
Kim
for him.
Jong-un.
God bless.
You know, most guys at most think of, and this is, this is bar show, maybe a threesome, but a 2,000 some? Good Lord. In fact, they say that heart failure and stuff is the leading cause of erectile dysfunction. As fat as that little fat dude is, I'm sure he's not getting it hard for 2,000 women, period. I don't know what.
When the side of
Hey.
When the side of your ears touch when the top of your ears touch the side of your head, like him, you're too fat.
Or you get them fat little earlobes,
That
right?
should be an indicator right there. Cholesterol, heart disease, it's right around the corner.
Yeah, and that might be what killed them, they're saying. But 2,000 women, there's not enough Viagra being produced and sold illegally in North Korea for 2,000 women. In fact, we'll just go. Go ahead, Natalie. What do you think about 2,000 women, Kim Jong-un?
No comment.
No comment? You think he's getting... Kayla, you think he can get it up for 2,000 women?
No, obviously that's not. No.
That kind of ain't happening, man.
Not happening.
All right. Other news. Trump tells Biden to fight. Now, I never thought this would happen now. I don't know if this is asymmetric warfare on Trump's behalf, but Trump is actually giving advice to Biden on how to do the sexual assault charges. No shit. So Trump says, hey, Biden, you should fight these sexual assault charges because I've been accused before and Kavanaugh's been accused, so you should just fight him if it's not true. I mean, this right here is asymmetric warfare. I don't know what his aim is here, but, he's like, hey, you and I can be boys on this. So I think it ruins. I mean, Trump needs America to forget about his 17 accusers or whatever the liberals keep saying. And let's keep the focus on Biden. Don't give him.
Here's the problem, Nathan, is that I am very honest about Biden and, for the left. And I
been honest about Trump?
But you just completely almost pat him on the head about it.
Because it's been adjudicated. He's already been through an election with all this nonsense. So he's already had all his heydays and the media went crazy on him. You know what? Conservatives don't even really care about Biden in this thing. I mean, they do because, every woman deserves to be heard. You know what they care about is the unfair treatment that the media gives to us versus them. And that's what pisses conservatives off. Yeah. Because had this been Ted Cruz and he ain't even running for president, it'd be all over. They did it to Roy Jones, the Senate candidate in Alabama. They did it to all types of people. And that's what pisses America off. Samantha says, guarantee Trump has a plan for that. I believe it. I think there's something in the works there.
Yeah. I think it's disgusting. I think I call Biden out and I say it's disgusting. I say I believe her. I'm wondering when conservative women and conservatives like you, conservative men, when they can actually just say, I think it's disgusting that Trump's done that too.
If I do not think it's disgusting, I don't agree with cheating on our spouse. But I'm a libertarian. I believe that if you can have sex with another dude, a guy and a girl, and I am also not against polygamy. Because guess what? It's consenting adults. And if Trump consented with another woman and cheated, that is bad, but it's not criminal. Grabbing a woman, pinning her up against a wall, sticking your fingers in her vagina is an illegal act if it was not welcome, period.
Okay, but there are 17 of them for Trump. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but a lot of them been found out to be frauds.
Yeah, well.
And they have. That's the thing. A lot of them have been paid off. In fact, the lawyer that was representing Stormy Daniels is in prison right now, sucking down coronavirus. Actually, he got let out on a compassionate case.
What about the other 16?
Yeah, when you're rich and people come after you. Again, that's sexual harassment.
The exact amount.
And if you notice, they all came out and said, oh, yeah, he slept with me and I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement. If they were raped, they wouldn't have signed a non-disclosure agreement. Okay? Next. Go ahead, Kayla. What do you think? You've been awfully quiet.
It's just the thing with, anything with violating people is not appropriate, of course. But the thing is that when you think of the normal person, yeah, if one person says, yeah, he raped me, normally it's not going to be 20 other people, because if you've been sexually assaulted, you're not going to want to go and tell more people. So yeah, I get this, like, I get what you're saying.